Hello, this is an Afghan girl. I'm 18 years old and I was born in Kabul city and I live in Kabul city. I would like to tell you the truth and the story of mine which I want the whole world to know that, which I want the whole world to hear that and understand me. I'm a girl who had the dreams to be changed in society, to support girls and youth rights. And I wanted to do my best as a girl, as a social activist, so I did. I started my activities since I was 14 years old and I became a member of national and international organizations. But unfortunately, I didn't know that one day all of these dreams that I have will be ruined, will be destroyed.
When the Taliban took control of Afghanistan's capital on August 15, 2021, it claimed the war was over. But for some, the fighting was about to start.
A society without women is a dead society.
Women who knew what was at stake based on the Taliban's previous time in power had a message to their rulers.
We are not the women of 20 years ago. I have my dreams and I want to work for my dreams. They almost do everything against the women. So I'm a woman, I'm a girl, and I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to cover my face. It's my identity. My life won't have any value if I just stuck in my home. It's stacking in your home is worse than being killed in here.
For the last 20 years, women had been playing a crucial role in building a new Afghanistan. They were members of the judiciary, social and public sector workers, artists, who believed there was no limit to what they could achieve until the Taliban returned.
My goal was to become Afghanistan's president one day, or vice president. We should eliminate the gender considerations from Afghanistan. This was my idea. But unfortunately, my hopes and objectives have turned to dust.
Mona, not her real name, introduced us to a group of friends in Kabul shortly after the Taliban takeover. They agreed to speak to us, but we chose not to show their faces to protect them.
From that night, we couldn't sleep because we used to hear so many calls scamming because you work with the foreign country, you work with the NGO, so they are searching for women who work with the NGO, so you have to burn your documents. We just took all our documents in our washroom and washing them and burning them because our is apartment, and if burning, everyone will understand they are burning something.
The group is a rather accurate picture of what Afghanistan's women had accomplished.
I was a prosecutor and checked cases daily. Women used to come to me and I would check and try to solve their problems.
This woman is among the hundreds of female members of the Afghan judiciary who say they are now targets, hunted by suspects they once helped convict, many of whom were members of the Taliban and have been freed by the group.
It was my duty. According to Afghanistan's law, they're criminals. According to the law, I processed these cases. But today the government fell and there's nothing left. And we're the accused and we're the ones facing threats. I sold some of my home utensils and donated the other part. And now I'm moving from one place to another. I'm even going to my relatives' homes, but they're not happy to host me, not even my dear friends. They don't like it because I'm under threat. They don't want their families to get in trouble because of me.
The last time the Taliban was in power in Afghanistan in the 1990s, women had virtually no rights. They couldn't work or study or even leave the house without a male relative. And despite the group's promises that things would be different this time, one of the first measures the militants took was to erase the faces of women from billboards and shop windows. The Taliban also prohibited women from appearing on TV. Presenters and reporters were ordered to cover their faces. The message was clear. The very sight of a woman was an insult. And that was just the beginning. Women who persistently took to the streets in the first few months of the group's new rule were eventually silenced. This photographer, we will call Mariam, was among them.
از پشت با قنداق تفنگشان و پشت سرم زدن و پشت بازویم زدن و موبایل.
With the butt of a gun, they hit me on the back of my arm. My phone fell and I wanted to take it from the ground, but the Taliban told me not to take it and to leave. I'd filmed the demonstration from the beginning to the end on it, and I didn't want to lose the events I'd filmed. I wanted the whole world to see what had happened, but they said no, don't take the cell phone. But I bent down and grabbed it. That's when they hit me twice in the arm with an iron bar.
Mariam wasn't detained that day, but the group of friends she was with was threatened. They say the fear and the physical pain don't compare to the impact the arrival of the Taliban has had on an entire generation of girls who, for the past year, have been deprived of an education. The first announcement came in October, when only boys and younger girls were allowed to resume classes. Months later, the group said girls would be able to return to secondary school in March this year, only to send them back home again hours after reopening classes. But things got even worse when activists started disappearing. Tamana Zariaba Pariani, Parwana Ibrahim Kel, Zara Mohammadi and Mursal Ayar were taken by men claiming to be Taliban members. The group denied detaining them, and the women were finally released a month later. The question of who is to blame for what's happened to the over 15 million women of Afghanistan divides.
Look what government did to us. What a cheap deal they did to us. We worked more than 10 years for this government, for building this country, and now we lost everything.
بالاخره به کدام سو میره و این مذاکرات این همه پولی که جامعه جهانی بالای افغانستان مصرف
What happened to the negotiations and what happened to all the money that came to Afghanistan? How did the United States, the world's superpower, invest in Afghanistan and then hand over power to a few motorcyclists that defeated B-52s?
یک موتورسیکل سوار B-52 آمریکا را شکست داد.
Today, America has a $5 to $10 million bounty on the heads of Al-Qaeda leaders. If someone finds them, don't you know, they're in Afghanistan. Come take them for free.
Mariam speaks of this crisis as an opportunity for the country to reckon with its own shortcomings.
The main culprits are us, the people of Afghanistan. We were silent when we saw corruption in the Republic. We were silent when we saw suicide at Kabul University. Maybe because we didn't put aside religious prejudices. But I think, and I'm sure that our current generation has come to realize that ethnicity should be in one corner and religion should be in another. And our humanity and nationalism are coming together. I'm happy I'm part of a generation that thinks and is aware of this.
At the time of the completion of this film, most Afghan women were prohibited from continuing school past 7th grade or returning to their public sector jobs. They were also banned from sports and discouraged from appearing in public without a male relative. Euronews chose to produce this film featuring only Afghan women in order to do our part in not letting them disappear.
Everything is done in over a year for girls and especially women. They cannot have their dreams, and these dreams are burned. These dreams are not alive anymore. This is really heartbreaking. This is really sad for everyone.